I knew Modern Family was something when I got a phone call from Ed O'Neill, who plays Jay. And I didn't even know Ed O'Neill had my phone number, but I was driving down Ventura Boulevard in Encino. I answered the phone, I go, hello, he goes, Eric. I said, yes, Ed O'Neill. I said, Ed, how are you, man? He's like, great, listen, the pilot's fantastic. I said, I know, it's so good, right? I just saw it. And he goes, Eric, this show's gonna go for a very long time. And I said, how do you know that? And he goes, if this show isn't a success, then I don't know why I'm in show business. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go with Al Bundy on this one. I'm gonna trust somebody who's been down this road. He turned out to be very right. I found that I wanted to be an actor, I think, when I was in college. I mean, there was definitely signs looking back that that's what I wanted to do because I said I wanted to be a clown in the circus. And that was probably the easiest way a kid from Kansas, you know, could say, I want to perform. When I found out clowns were just people with makeup on, I'm like, well, I want to do that. And my grandma started making me clown suits and my parents started letting me put on makeup, which was probably a little confusing for my dad to have a son that wanted to play football and wear clown makeup. But, you know, my parents taught me there was nothing wrong with the fact that I wanted to be a clown. No one ever made me feel bad about that or weird about that. They just gave me permission to be who I was. I come to LA in 1998, move into my apartment in Burbank, California. I had a good friend that had an audition for a show called My American Family for the role of Cameron, and he asked me if I would read the part with him. And he's like, dude, this is a hard character to do. I don't know what how I can do with it. Would you mind kind of walking me through it? And so we read it for a little while, and I'm like the whole time thinking like, well, I could do this part, you know, like. And so we left, and I said, I gotta be honest with you, when you leave, I'm gonna call my manager and I'm gonna try to get an audition for this. He's like, dude, you totally should. I remember closing the door on Matt and picking up the cordless phone and calling, I mean, immediately. We called the casting director, we meaning my manager, and the response was, love Eric, don't know that he's necessarily right for this part. Well, I had known the head of casting from different things at ABC and a couple other executives. So we kind of did a little and got me in to read for then My American Family. So I go in with Chris and Steve, Chris Lloyd, Steve Levitan, the co-creators of the show, and Jeff, and do the part, you know, the way I did it with rehearsing with my friend Matt. And I leave and they call that night and say, Eric was fantastic. We thought he was really funny, but it's not gonna go any further. And this is what 12 years of ups and downs in the business do, is I literally was like, okay, moving on, cool, thanks, bye. 7 days or 6 days pass, and I get another phone call that says they're still thinking about Eric's read. They really liked it a lot. And they'd like him to come in clean shaven and dressed more appropriately for the part. So I shaved myself, I went to Macy's and picked out a lavender gingham shirt and some navy pants and a gray cardigan. And I went back in and did the same audition, the same exact way. Went back home, and they called that night and said, Eric was fantastic. Really great. Thank you so much. It's not gonna go any further. And I'm like, okay, now I'm pissed because I've spent money. I just went and bought a lavender gingham shirt that I'm probably never gonna wear again. You know, so now I'm invested in this. Another 2 days, I believe, pass. And then they call and they say, you know what, we're gonna test Eric. We're gonna let him go in for studio with Jesse, Tyler Ferguson, who had already been cast as Mitchell. And we're gonna put him in the room together. Walk in and I do it for studio, came out, got in my car. I was on the phone with my parents telling them, you know, the audition went well. Keep your fingers crossed. Boop. Hold on, I'm getting another call. I'll call you guys back. My manager, Steve, he says, you know, Eric, listen, there are days in this business that are good days, and there are days in this business that just don't go your way. And this is a day that went your way. You got the part. I'm like, I'm gonna frickin' kill you. I didn't think twice about playing a gay character. It's an interesting thing because once it happened, people started asking me, well, what do your parents think? What does your mom and dad think? Well, are you worried? And I quickly realized, like, what that question says about all of us. Because no one ever once asked me, when I murdered and raped and gouged people's eyes out on network television on all these killer shows, well, what do your parents think? My parents were bummed that I kept getting cast as the killer and the rapist on these procedural dramas. So when I got this part, there was never a conversation. It never even came into the stratosphere of a conversation between my parents and I can't say that I've ever felt like a spokesman. I feel like I'm an advocate and a friend. I believe in equality, and I believe that gay people have the right to be married just like everyone else. I remember a very specific conversation during all of this struggle of getting me in, whether I was right for the part or not, saying, look, I can bring awareness to this issue from a completely different standpoint because I'm a straight guy from Kansas who had pigs and cows, and look at what doors I can open by being an actor who's, you know, comfortable with himself and wants to bring truth and honesty to this part from my life experiences, because I never looked at Cam as a gay character. I never thought of it as that. And I think that's our goal, or should be our goal in life, is to shuffle someone's sexual orientation down the list to way, way down there, because it's not what defines people. I can't tell you at this moment in my life in the last 6 years how many kids and how many parents have come up to me and said, you have had a profound impact in my life. And sometimes it's just about making them laugh, and other times it's about pointing bullies to Mitch and Cam and saying, well, you guys like Mitch and Cam, right? Well, my moms are like Mitch and Cam, or my dads are like Mitch and Cam. My dream was to be on a TV show. My dream was to make a living as an actor. I never encompassed into that dream to have an ability to impact people. I didn't know. I thought I'd be able to make people laugh. I thought I'd be able to touch them, make them feel emotion, but not be a little bit of a beacon of hope for someone that's struggling. Mitch and Cam are just like everybody else. I want to have a beer with Cam. I want to sit down and go to a dinner party with Mitch and Cam. And the fact that they're gay is irrelevant. It really is irrelevant. And that's where I feel like we have been impactful, is to just portray these two people as human beings, fathers, boyfriends, partners, husbands, flawed, crazy human beings.
Listen, we lost 18 games in a row. And every game before the game, I had to make our team believe that we were going to win that game.